Stone Guardian, Crystal Keeper, Gin Lovers of Rocktown. Welcome to There's a Rock for That. Welcome everyone to There's a Rock for That. I am your host, Mary Brown, coming to you live from Amarillo, Texas. And I am really so excited about today's show. I'm so glad everybody can be here today for this episode of There's a Rock for That. And let me tell you, here we are on the Psychic Talk Radio Network. And this show is sponsored by the Tarot Guild, the international organization for tarot lovers, students, and professional readers since 2004, www.thetarotguild.com. And we are a live call-in show. Usually what I do is take calls during the second half of the show. You can call in to talk about and share your thoughts about our topic today and our guest today. And you can even call in for a free crystal reading or just some good advice. The number to call is 714-164628. And again, the number to call if you want to call in with a question or just a chat or to get a free mini reading is 714-816-4628. And be sure to press the number 1 on your dial pad because that allows me to see you on the switchboard. Okay. And another thing I wanted to mention since we are on the Psychic Talk Radio Network is that we have a Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group. We have a page as well. And you want to make sure to like the page and join the group and join the conversation. And in our Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group, I post a card of the day pretty much every day. I try to do it every day. Sometimes, well, I'm only human. I don't do it every day, but I did today. And here's the funny thing about this. Our topic for today is Angelic Contact Stone. We're going to have a very special guest on, the incredible Catharine, who's also a host on the Psychic Talk Radio Network. But because the topic's Angelic Contact Stones, on show days, I'm not trying to do some amazing, mystical, magical thing with pulling the card of the day that's going to somehow magically connect to the topic or the crystal that we're talking about. I usually look through a deck that I know has that stone on it because I have a lot of crystal oracle decks. Not a lot, but a few. There should be more on the market, by the way, out there. If you're a crystal deck creator, make more, please. But what happened today is I pulled a card from the Crystal Medicine Oracle by Rochelle Sharman with artwork by Lynn Hibble. And I was going to look for the angel and crystal stone. And I pulled the deck out, and that was the first card right there. I pull the deck out of the box, I flip it over, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay, it's there. So I was intending to find that card, but somehow it just randomly was right there. So, wow. And you could see that card by going to the Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group. And it's the Angels and Spirit Guides card. And because this has a kind of a contemporary shamanism theme to this deck, it's also connected to the upper world, where there's the idea of the three worlds in shamanism, contemporary shamanism at least, and the stone is Angelite. And Angelite is one of my favorite stones connected to the angels. But I wanted to share really quickly a couple little properties about Angelite. It aids your connection to the higher realms. It can act as a conduit to receive messages from your angels, and also assists in receiving healings from the angelic realms. And we're going to be talking about a lot of that kind of stuff a little bit later once we bring on our guest. But I wanted to share a really quick way to work with this, because there's a ceremony or a ritual or just a thing to do, whatever you want to call it, whatever you're comfortable with, what resonates. But it's so great. All you have to do, you can sit or lie comfortably in a quiet place. I mean, let's hope we all have a quiet place somewhere we can find when we need it. And put on some angelic music that makes you feel like it's angelic, okay? That lifts you up, gives you that sensation of being uplifted. That can even be like a trance drumming track. And you're going to set the intention to meet a new guide or receive information, or as they call it, medicine, from this guide, from an angel. You know, you set that intention when you go into this, and then you close your eyes and you allow your spirit to be lifted up into the higher realms, the upper world, if you want to look at it that way, the spirit realm, if you want to look at it that way. And know that and expect, because you've set the intention, you're going to expect to be met by this angel or new guide, and they're going to offer what they have to offer to you in that moment at that time. And just open to receive that experience. And then when you feel like it's complete, you thank them and you come back into your body. You come back, you ground, you feel the earth, feel whatever you're sitting on, and remind yourself, I'm here now, I'm in this room, all is well, all is well. So I just wanted to share that with you. You can find that card today on our Facebook group. And now, why don't we go ahead and bring on our crystallicious guest, Catharine Hahn. And right before we do, I want to tell you just a little bit about her. She does have a show on this network. Like I told you, she's the host of Spiritual Guidance Radio here on the Psychic Talk Radio Network. That show is on Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern in the U.S., of course, and 7 p.m. in London in the U.K., too. Catharine is the owner of Compassionate Light Healing Associates and has had the gift of intuition since she was young, and a dark period in her life is when she had a spiritual reawakening and found out that one of her gifts was healing. Catharine is an angelic energy healer, spiritual teacher and coach, plus an angelic channel. She's a certified angel practitioner, a certified crystal Reiki master, and a member of the IAAP, the Tarot Guild, and the International Reiki Organization. And so, without further ado, on Catharine. Catharine, hello. Are you there?
Hello, beautiful Mary. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm so glad that you could join us today. This is going to be so much fun.
I am so glad to be here as well, and I just love the crystal of the day today. I have Angelite sitting right next to me right now, actually. In my room, I always have it next to my bed. So it's awesome.
It is awesome. You know, and what's funny is that in some ways I feel like, because, it's not quartzy, like a lot, like say celestite or clear quartz or amethyst or, a lot of other stones. And I feel like somehow it kind of doesn't get the attention it deserves. Isn't that funny? So, can you share with us, like, what are just your thoughts and feelings about Angelite and just how it adds to your life? You're having it around you. You're connecting with it.
So Angelite was actually one of my first stones that I had, that I got. And it just makes me, when I look at it, it just makes me feel good. And it's this refreshing feeling that I get. And my experience with Angelite, I would say, is that it has really helped open up my ability to be able to see and be able to see angels as well. So I think it's just a magical stone. It just feels good. And there have been times where I put it under my pillow. And I've actually been able to see even more and get more messages that way, having it right next to me. So, yeah, I really think that it's a great stone, especially to have that clarity on, what it is that you need to really see when it comes to your messages from the divine.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And putting it under your pillow is a terrific, that's great advice, really, because I think that, sometimes we don't even think like what to do with the stones that we get. I feel like I'll get messages from people that will be like, well, okay, I bought a crystal and nothing happened. I'm like, wow, okay. Have you tried? Have you worked with it? Have you put it, like literally, have you put it under your pillow? I've said that to people. Because it's just, I think it's about having it in our, like, auric field, in the field of our aura. And so, that's going to vary for people. That could go out 10 feet, that, but at least, around us. So that's such a great way to work with it, having it in your room, holding it in your hand. I mean, you just told everybody how to work with it, really, and then being open to it, being open to receive, like those messages. And I found it so interesting that you talked about it helping you to see, so like clairvoyantly see, the energy of angels, right? And that's fascinating because when you can look at Angelite another way and see that it's a blue stone, and so you might think that it's going to help you, connected to the throat chakra, that is going to help your communication. And seeing is a part of how the angels communicate with us. It's not that they're always talking to us or they're sending us an email, right? When we talk about angelic, communication or contact, it's like, oh, how are they contacting you? Did you get a letter in the mail? It's like, no. But can you, and this is it's almost like a crazy question to ask anybody, because if somebody asked me, I would be like, that's a crazy question to ask me. How do I even say this? But can you try to, just give it your best shot, can you try to describe for us what you're seeing when you see an angel?
So that can be different for everyone. And so for me, when I first started seeing them, I wasn't quite sure that I was seeing them. It was kind of like a staticky TV. So if you can imagine that with the gray and the white static when your TV is not working right. Or I guess people kind of call it snow, like it's like snowing on the TV. So it was kind of like that, and I just saw this form, and so when I first saw them, I wasn't quite sure what it is that I saw, and this was when I was doing Reiki. So I was doing a Reiki session, and it just kind of came in that way. But as I was, practicing doing this more and more, I saw them in a much clearer way, because what I did then was to actually ask them to show me in a way that I would know. When it comes to the angels, we can always communicate with them. We may not always see them, but we can always communicate with them. So, I did that, and there was, as I, kept practicing, I saw them in a clear way. So some of us may see them in a way that looks like a ghost. You imagine what a ghost, when you see them on TV, kind of in that sense, kind of transparent. You might be able to, kind of see a figure. And then for others, what they'll see are colors. So it may be the blue color, that may be Archangel Gabriel, or a purple color, or rainbow color when it comes to Archangel Raphael. So, we can see them in different ways depending on our own gifts as well. So when it comes to seeing, it can be in the colors, it can be in forms, and it can also be in forms of other people, but within our dreams. So within our dreams, within visions that we may see as well. So if you... it can be someone that that have passed on, that you can see them in that way, or it can be one of the masters in that sense too.
That's a good point. So, to me, I feel like there is, there's almost like a energy level difference, right? Between when you know, right, that, and I feel like the way we know, it's going to be different for everybody, but it's almost like there's a feeling, just internally in your body that it's like angelic. It's like, whoa.
Yes.
It's hard to describe, right?
So I'm able to actually do mediumship as well. So I'm able to connect with loved ones and those who have passed on. And there is a huge difference when it comes to that feeling of when you're communicating with someone who passed on and when you're communicating with an angel, or even an archangel. That's even a higher, a different level when it comes to that energy. And so when it comes to angel energy, it's a higher vibration. We have to be on a higher vibration to be able to communicate with them, that higher frequency, so that those feelings of love and joy, we need to be on that level to be able to communicate with them in a clear way. So that's why a lot of times on my show, I make sure to let people know that it's important for us to do those things that we love to do, to be on that higher vibration, to have that clarity and receive those messages from the divine.
I'm so glad that you put it that way. I was just thinking about that this morning. I mean, not everything you said, obviously. That would be weird, right? I was just thinking of everything you just mentioned. But joy. And I was just thinking, we reach for it. Everybody in their own ways, they're reaching for this higher level, and there's so many different paths, so many different paths to take to get there. And what is it that we hope to achieve? What is it that makes something, even like sacred for us? What is that? What do we get out of that? And to me, it's like the one thing that I could think of is that feeling of joy. We're humans. We're humans, and there's something about the sensation of joy that I think is the highest level we can ever hope to attain to. And I think that every little drop of joy you experience in your life, just bask in it. Just bask in it, because that's the best stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, when it comes to crystals actually help us to get there, too, and help us to raise our vibrations and raise that frequency. And that's why, many of us love crystals and just love the feeling of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, we talked about Angelite, and, for me, there's just, and I think it's true for everybody, there are going to be certain crystals that you're going to connect with, that are going to speak to you, and it isn't going to matter what everybody else recommends. It could be just that's your connection. That's the one. So, we're going to talk about different stones that, can be helpful in connecting with and communicating with the angelic realm. But it's also pay attention to what's pulling you. What's pulling you there? What is saying, like, hey, guess what? You and me, we're supposed to hang out, And, for me, one of them is Seraphinite, and it is this gorgeous, green stone. You'll see swirls of white in it, and I don't know, Seraphinite, and I fell in love many years ago, and it's just been this just wonderful love affair ever since, and playful. Seraphinite is a playful lover. What am I saying, right? What am I saying? We're talking about angels here. Get on track, Mary. Get on track. But what has happened is that my first piece of Seraphinite was this little tumbled stone, which oddly enough was in the shape of a triangle. Not a perfect triangle, but I was like, wow, it's weird that it just kind of fell into that shape. And I had the stone. I'd put it, next to my nightstand or whatever. And, I swear on a stack of Bibles and all kinds of books that I did not move that stone, right? That stone, that's where I always kept it. I didn't move it. And one day, it's not there. And I thought, okay, I'm interrogating the dogs. Did you do this? Just tell me. Just tell me. I want my stone back. They're looking at me like, what is she talking about? Is there food involved here? And I looking everywhere in my house. I look in this other room, I look in that room, and I'm like, wow, I'm trying to come to terms with the fact that I lost my precious little Seraphinite tumbled stone. So a couple of days later, I wake up in the morning. I didn't close the drapes very well, and so the light is sort of gleaming through. And the first thing I see is that Seraphinite sitting on the carpet in the middle of the room. And there's no way, right? There's just no way that happened, So that's what I mean by playful, and maybe it's apporting, maybe it's, I don't know. But this stone, it's been playing with me for quite a while. And then another thing that, it works for me with Seraphinite, and a lot of crystals that have that quartzy kind of, effect to them, where you can kind of look inside the crystal a bit, or you see something sort of on the surface in the patterns and stuff. Seraphinite is one that I see angel figures in it all the time. And sometimes they're not in the same place they were the last time I looked at the stone. I'm like, why are you doing this to me? It's like messing with my mind. But it's so fun. It's just so much fun. And so when they can help us, by raising the vibration, when you think of, just a crystal energy, or especially if it's quartz, you think about the the piezoelectric kind of quality to it, but also there's other ways that they raise our vibration, because that Seraphinite playing that little game with me took me out of my everyday, and when you get taken out of, the mundane circumstances where you're sitting there and you're thinking like, wow, do I need to make chicken again? We've had chicken 5 times this week, that kind of thing, whatever takes us out of that moment, and it's like, whoa, wait, something's happening. That, to me, is a way of raising our vibration, too. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. There's so many things that, our routines are, a lot of times it's boring. And, our vibrations may be low because nothing great is happening, nothing is exciting. And, something like that, or, meditation, you might be taken somewhere while you're meditating or dreaming, and those things just change like that. It really does change how we feel and raise that vibration, and make things exciting. Excitement part of raising that vibration, definitely.
Oh, absolutely, right? Because it's not like it would be a boring thing. It's like, raise my vibration. Yeah. Angels, showed up. Yeah, the normal. It's really not like that. You will notice something's going on.
Exactly.
And sometimes I think that's it. It's like, be willing to notice, be willing to just open up to it. So I wanted to talk to you also about, on your bio page, which everyone can find by going to psychictalk.net/Catharine, you talk about your mission, and why don't you talk about it? I'm not going to read it. It's like, okay, Catharine, here's your mission. No, why don't you share with people why it is that you do what you do, that you do this kind of work that we're talking about?
There's especially right now with so much going on and lots of people just not living that life that they're meant to live, and going through the motions of life, thinking that they have to, just work and then go home and go to bed, and take care of their families. That's not what life's about. We're meant to do those things that, that we dream about. We don't dream just to dream. We don't have passions just because, it's just a feeling, but it's meant for us to really go out and go get it. It's meant for us to be in ourselves and serve in that way, and that is service. Also, when we do those things that we're meant to do, and be in our purpose, it's meant for us to do. And when we do, we help other people to be able to open up. We help other people to heal. We help other people to live their own great life. And so, what I do this because I want to help other people to live that life that they're meant to live, and live that great joy and that great love. When it comes to the divine, we were created in their image, which is that perfect, soul. And so when we came here, we were, we're perfect. But with all those things that we take from society and from other people, what they tell us and what they, and their own things that they need to heal, we lose that. We lose that sense of our true selves. And so it's, it's about going back to that and shedding off all those layers. And so, I want to help everyone to be able to, live that their authentic self, go to who it is that they are. And a lot of times I, do ask my clients, what is it that you wanted to be when you were growing up? And even though we may be adults, it's important for us to ask that, because we lose that, about ourselves. We forget what it is that we really wanted to do in this life, to and to really live that life of joy and that love. And when we do that, and when we exude that love and joy, we help other people to live that life also. So, I'm so grateful for this platform, for Psychic Talk and you and Dax, to be able to share that, share my gift so that I could help other people as well, to live that life that we're meant to live. So, yep, that's just a little bit of
it is a little bit. But it's a lot. You bring a lot to the table with that. And, one thing I was thinking about, preparing for this show, I think about your connection to angels. I think about my connection to angels. And I think about a lot of pop culture, angel references and all of this stuff. And I think people sometimes don't understand that doesn't mean that, because we're talking about communicating with angels, and even crystals, I think it happens with that too. I think people don't understand that sometimes the road to getting there was not so easy, and it was not all, lights and lollipops and sunshine and rainbow unicorn sprinkles. Sounds like a good breakfast cereal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But, I know, like, for me, I read a lot about angels. I took some angel classes. I was always interested in angels. Like, my first thing probably was reading Thomas Aquinas. And if anybody read Thomas Aquinas, it's not necessarily something that you do in a day, right? And it's not necessarily something where you feel like, oh, wow, that's wonderful. Like, it's kind of heavy, it's kind of really heavy and complicated. And I'm like, okay, I need to go back and read all that again, because it just did not stick with me. I'm like, wow, I want to understand you, Thomas. I can't. I'm not worthy, and then, you go through life, you have these weird special moments and you're growing and everything. But, my real connection with angels came through like a real intense experience where I didn't think I was going to live. And I think that, in your bio, right, you mentioned that there was a dark moment that kind of brought you to the light, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And can you share that in a way so people understand? Because a lot of people listening out there, they could be in that kind of difficult time themselves. And I think it's a message of hope. Go ahead.
Yes,
tell me.
Definitely. And I think, when it comes to light workers, we've all been there. We've all had those moments. And for me, I've always had this connection with angels since I was little. It's just I didn't quite know that I was talking to angels at that moment. I was always talking to someone. And, I always thought that it was something that we all had. I thought it was that, you see that cartoon of the angel on one side and the devil on the other side. And I always thought that we all had that, where like we always had that tug of war. We're talking to, something, something within us that is always right, and it's the right thing to do. And so that's what I always thought that was. So, like, especially in the shower, I think that's always been my thing. In the shower, I would always be speaking to someone, and it's within my mind, and always leading me and guiding me to do different things. And so, I kind of lost that as I was growing up. That just happened.
Yeah.
With life going on and
Sure.
everything happening. And then, as a when it came to so after I got married, we were trying to have family, start a family, and my darkest periods were before I had my children. I actually had 3 losses. So I had my first loss. It was around 2007, and I was 8.5 weeks pregnant when I had my first loss. And then right after, I had a early loss, and then my last loss was a stillbirth, so at 20 weeks. And so those 3 losses back to back, for anyone, it's just, it's crushing. And it took me a long time to really get out of that. I would spend months in bed, not wanting to go anywhere because I didn't want to see all these pregnant people, especially,
Sure.
I was part of a church. And after my first, when I first got pregnant, I was the first one out of 7 at our church who got pregnant right around the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So soon after, I stopped going to church. I was like, okay, I can't do this. And right after my loss, my husband could tell you, I spent 3 months in bed. And it was right before the holidays. And so I was like, I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to, run into anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone. And I blamed God. I was mad. And, thankfully for my, sweet husband, after work, he'd spend his time in bed with me. And we talk, we cry,
that's a good husband. That is a good husband, girls. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm so thankful for that. And so, that happened. And then, with the holidays, I really didn't have a choice. I had to get out of bed.
Right. Darn it. Why are they forcing you?
I know. If it wasn't for the holidays, I would have stayed in bed for the last few months. But, I was forced to go out of bed, go to my parents' house, and, spend the holidays. And, it was so tough. And then my second one wasn't as bad. It was actually around my birthday and our anniversary when I had my second loss. And so, that was me right back, but I guess it wasn't as bad because it was, early on. But then I got pregnant right after. So a month after, I was pregnant again.
Wow.
And, I was, of course, scared that it would happen again.
Right.
And we went through the weeks. Every week it was a challenge. And we got through 8.5 weeks, thought we were in the clear. And then at 20 weeks, I was, shopping, and that's when it happened. And, that was, I think I spent more time in bed after that.
Sure.
And, I completely stopped going to church. I was like, okay, this is not, I was so angry at God. And so I spent those months in bed. I didn't want to do anything. And then eventually, when I felt like I could, get up, I was like, okay, I need some way to get out of this, this depression, just feeling this way, because it did not feel good. I did not want to be here. But, something inside me said, you have to keep going. You have to find that something to find, go back to that joy. And so I searched, and I found the law of attraction that led me to Reiki. And I found that I was that natural healer that, I never thought I could do. And when I first started, I started on people around me. So I started with other mothers around me, and I actually started remotely. So I was like, okay, you're going to be in your house, and I'm going to do this from my house. Right. And so I would do it, and then I'd get that feedback saying, oh my gosh, I feel like I was just at a spa. I was like,
wow.
What?
Oh, wow.
Then, and then I had others where I had this mother who was actually just about to cancel her session with me because her kids were terrorizing her. There's tantrums all around. And I was like, no, let's just do this and see how that goes. And as soon as I started, her kids went to sleep. Her kids fell asleep.
Wow.
And she's like, oh my gosh. Like as soon as it was that time, they went to sleep. And I was like, that's okay,
amazing.
I guess this is working.
I guess there's something to this. I'm trying, and it's happening.
Yeah.
And,
and so,
that kind of validation, though, that validation is so important, though, when we're, trying to do it, for like in the beginning. And gosh.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then when I continued to do this, that's when the angels started appearing in my sessions. And it was just amazing how I would not only get the archangels there, I would get my angels as well as their angels, their guides as well. So I was just, at first, I was like, who are all these people?
Right.
I was like, I don't get this. I was like, what's going on? And then as I started doing some journaling and meditating, I found out that who these angels were. And during this process, I also started to get to know each of the archangels separately. So how it is that they felt, what it is that they brought when it came to their power and their energy. And also, I would ask them to show me by helping me to feel them in different ways. And so, and so I would get to know each of the archangels for a whole week. I would be journaling everything that I felt, everything that I saw. And it's just been amazing that way. And so ever since then, if I do a Reiki session, they're always there. They disappear. And I know who it is that are coming in. And, it's just been amazing ever since. And it's just kind of morphed from there.
It's amazing. And, do you consider yourself would you call yourself a channeler? Because I think there's a lot of confusion about that term. But do you think of it as channeling?
So I am always communicating with the angels, the archangels. And sometimes they just kind of appear. Sometimes I ask for certain archangels to show up. And
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to channeling, it is that communication with them. You are speaking to them, but also they're really speaking to you. And so for some people, channeling may look like, when you're in that meditation mode and you start writing. You just kind of start writing those things that come in for you. And that's part of channeling. Also, it can come in different ways when it comes to through dreams, through music as well. So depending on what it is that your gifts are, you can be channeling in that way. So channeling is that speaking with the divine, speaking with your spirit guides on what those messages that are, meant for you, for other people, for yourself. And, when it comes to my show as well, I'm constantly channeling, during that hour, during that 2 hours that I'm speaking with other people, as well as just speaking, teaching. So, yeah, that is what channeling is. You're communicating with these spirits and the divine on what it is you're supposed to present. Mm-hmm.
Right, and it can come in different forms. That's kind of like my opinion of it, is that it comes in different forms, because I almost feel like it's this thing where people say they're channeling. It's like I need to ask them, like, what's that like for them? Like, what's the process for them? Because it's so different for everybody, But I just, it just kind of popped into my head because I've heard a lot of conversations lately around the idea of channeling, and I'm like, well, it's not just one thing, right? I don't think it's one thing. Does Catharine think it's one thing? I'm like, I'll ask Catharine. Hey, we have a question in the chat room from Charlotte, and we also have a comment. Oh, it's like the chat room's like buzzing about all this. Okay, first let's take this question first, though, from Jason. He says, Catharine, I feel that archangels are sort of reserved in some ways for higher power. What is your feeling on that?
Archangels are for everyone. So, we have our own spirit guides, and we have our own guardian angels, more than one, too. But a lot of people think that, and it's common to think this way, that there's only certain people who can really connect with the archangels because we see them as this huge, like much higher power than regular angels or guides. But that's so not true. We can all connect with them. So all we have to do is ask them to step forward, and then they'll help you with, whatever situation that you're in. When I communicate with clients, and it has to do with healing, or when it comes to working on letting go of limiting beliefs, I ask them to connect with Archangel Raphael. Or, if you are needing help when it comes to communicating your truth, connecting with Archangel Gabriel. They're there to really support you through the process. So Archangel Samuel is a great angel when it comes to unconditional love and self-love. And so, calling on him to come in to help you through, if you're going through a tough time, to support you. And they support you with that powerful energy that comes in that they have, that is so strong. And so we can all connect with them. Anyone can ask for them to step forward. And sometimes they just show up even before you ask them. So, anyone can connect with them.
And I think that that's really important. I almost feel like it's the name, archangels, that kind of like everybody's like, whoa, well, that's a little extra. It's a little extra there. What's going on? I better look out. And I had the experience of having an angelic healing that was really intense, and I'm really thankful for it. That's terrific. I can walk now. That's great. Great to be walking. All of that stuff and being, I could walk, but I couldn't stand longer than 15 minutes after an accident I had, and I had this angelic healing experience through Archangel Raphael. I know. That's it. Like everybody else can think like, really? I don't know. It's like, well, that's fine. Think that. That's cool. I know. That's all I needed, but I know. And I was overcome by this feeling for like a year of I can't be grateful enough. Like I felt like everything I would do to try to express my gratitude for that was just inadequate. It was like life-changing like that, and I'm like, I can't do this enough. I just, how can I express this gratitude? And it really came down to me examining that and realizing that I was just feeling like, why me? Why help me? Right? There's so many people that, yeah, sure. I was in pain. I couldn't stand longer than 15 minutes, but there's so many people in much worse conditions, and I finally communicated with Archangel Raphael about this, through my mind, asking the question, just saying, look, why? Why did you do that? For me, there's so many. Have you seen the people out there? There's people that really need more help than I do. And the message was a visual, and the visual was a bird bath. And there was this little sparrow, a little bird, little sparrow, that, millions of sparrows all over the world, right? Little tiny sparrows. And he's in this bird bath, and he's like, flapping his little wings, doing what they do in a bird bath. And I'm watching him, and he starts to sink. He starts to sink below the surface and further down. And I see this hand come up through the water and just lift him up and put him back on the surface. And
oh, wow.
I usually don't consider myself clairvoyant. I don't see a lot of things necessarily, but I'm usually clairaudient. I hear messages, and the words that I heard was, I helped because I can. You help because you can. And that's been like, that's my marching orders. So like, that's it. Like, okay, wow, I get that, and wow, I need to pay it forward. And when I can help,
amazing.
I need to help. So
that's
so
amazing.
It changed my life. It just, I get where Jason is coming from with the idea of, being reserved for a higher power. I think we can read about them and easily extrapolate that idea from it. But I think that it's more what you're saying, that anybody can connect with them. So, wow, Jason, thank you for that thought-provoking question for Catherine. And then Charlotte in the chat room as well says, if there's time, Charlotte. There's always time. She says, I'd love to hear what the angels think I need to know for today, Monday, and the rest of the month. Like, it's just like, what do I need to know? Do you want to see, if you pick up anything on that?
Oh, yeah.
The angels. So, yeah.
So I have Archangel Gabriel step forward in a big way. And then Archangel Samuel, Archangel Uriel, and so they both came in. Archangel Raphael says to kind of, standing a little bit in the background. But for Charlotte, to know that it's so important that you really share who it is that you are and what it is that you're going through. It's okay to be vulnerable. At times when it can be scary, to be vulnerable. But so many times it's important for us to do that because there's so many people out there who think that they're alone, who think that no one else will understand what it is that they're going through. but especially as light workers, and that's what Charlotte is, that is what we both are, that it's so important for us to share who it is and what it is that we're going through, who it is that we really are, so that we can help others to see that they're not alone and that they can get through it, that they can go through this life and go way beyond what it is that we think that we can't do. And so, Charlotte, to really be able to open up and really pour out that heart of yours, that big heart of yours, and really be open to others, especially when others are sharing their things with you, their issues, their situations with you, to then be able to share what it is that's on your heart and what you've been through, because that's really going to help give you that connection with them, but also to help them to heal as well. And I know, Charlotte, you have this huge connection with crystals also. So don't be afraid to connect with those, get those crystals that are calling to you, because they will help in that process. Also, but connecting with Archangel Gabriel, also Archangel Chamuel, stepping forward, saying that you are so loved, you are so supported, and I feel that there's a lot going on with Charlotte. Charlotte, there's a lot of things that are happening, and to know that you have that support with Archangel Chamuel and all the other archangels, and Archangel Uriel steps forward because to help you to know that you have that power to be able to get through whatever it is that you're going through right now, or whatever it is that you've been through recently. You can do it. You have that power within you. So to let it out. Also, some journaling is going to help. Archangel Raphael there to remind you that journaling is going to be really important. Journaling out all those emotions, journaling out everything that you've been through recently to get that clarity, because you're able to get that clarity from the divine, from your guides, from the angels. So, to keep doing that work, keep moving forward. And also, we're always here to support and help you as well. So, Charlotte, if you're listening, you can reach out to either Mary or myself. If you're needing some extra guidance, any prompts when it comes to journaling, any of that, or even just to vent. If you really need to share from your heart, just reach out to us, and we're always here to listen. And to give you that guidance that you're needing. So that message is for you, Charlotte. So
yeah, there you go. And she wrote back. She said, here's the thing, right? She says, I felt the need lately to journal, but have pushed it burner. And so then what happens? She's like, I wonder what can I get a message for the angels? Blah blah blah. It's like journal, okay? They saw you push that to the back burner, okay? And I love how that's just like right there. And then yet Charlotte also, I felt the need lately to journal. Well, don't ignore that need. Don't ignore that feeling. You had that feeling for a reason, and then every day Charlotte comes in and says, okay, you're going to have to put that back. You've got other things to do here, blah, blah, blah. No, that was your intuition talking. That was your angelic connection, letting that feeling surge up. So pay attention, Charlotte. We do it. We all do it, right?
Yep, exactly. And it's hard for us to see our own selves. What it is that we need a lot of times, being subjective, it's hard to do. That's why healers need other healers to help them and guide them. So yeah,
absolutely.
And it's about really trusting that our intuition, and and that's why we're here to help other people to really see that. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you were here today with me, Catherine. I'm so glad you were able to do this. This was so much fun that it just flew by. It flew by, like that hour just like, shoo, flew by. But before we go, I wanted you to, let people know again how they can get in contact with you. Also, tune into your show on Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern, Pacific. What is it? I don't know. You know it better than me. What am I trying?
So, if you are needing some guidance, if you are needing some prompts for journaling, or just needing to talk, you can reach out to me at facebook.com/Spiritual Guidance Radio. So that's the title of my show. So you can reach out to me there. You can message me there. I also do have some messages on there as well, like November, what to expect in November when it comes to the energy. So you can reach out to me there, and I will respond back as soon as I could. And if you just need a little bit of guidance, I can do that as well. If you would like in-depth session, I also do that as well. So you could book a session with me through there, or you can go to CompassionateLightHealing.com. And I also offer corporate packages. So if you are needing some coaching, if employees need some coaching, I can do that, as well as Reiki I do offer still. So those are just some ways to reach me. I also do have my show on Fridays. I'm thinking that it's going to change soon. I'm not quite sure exactly when, but right now it's Fridays at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you need some guidance, I do take calls throughout the show. Actually, yesterday I was on for almost 2 hours taking calls. And
wow.
It was just amazing. And so, I didn't do any teaching at all. And the angels, right before, they're like, nope, there's no topic. You just take calls. And, I
That's
listened,
amazing.
and it was amazing. There were some calls where, they weren't open to what it is that the angels want to share, but that's how it is, and that's where it starts for a lot of people, to really be able to be open to that. And so, if you want to call in, share what it is that is on your heart, my show is there for that, for you to really be sharing who it is that you are, what it is that you're going through. I'm there to listen. I'm there to share any guidance that the angels, the archangels show me. And that's, and then you can also listen to the past shows, because when we listen to other people's advice, like if I'm giving someone else advice, it can resonate with you. It can be meant for you as well. So, I tell clients, I tell other people that if you feel, that you need to listen to a certain show, listen to that, your gut, listen to your instincts and your intuition, because there's a reason, why you are being led and called to listen to those shows.
Speaking of callers, I just noticed here we have time to take one call, right?
Okay.
Let's see who this
we
is.
could say as many as calls.
Yeah, I think the way I phrased it, we had a whole bunch of calls, and then they dropped off like, oh, I guess it's over. I'm like, it's not over yet. It's just sort of towards the end of it being over. But one person hung in there. It's a Skype caller. So I don't know the area code, but let me see if I can bring them on.
Okay.
Hello, caller. Are you there? Hello. Hello. Are you there, caller? Oh well.
They might have stepped
they
away for a little bit.
Yeah, or they just wanted to play some background music for us, so that was nice. Thank you. That was cool. But speaking of your show, I wanted to tell everybody what's coming up on the Psychic Talk Radio Network this week. And we've got a list of amazing shows coming up. Our next show is going to be Monday, November 8th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's the Wisdom of the Soul show with your host, Janice Fuchs. And then the next show is on Friday, Spiritual Guidance Radio, that we were just talking about. Friday, November 12th. This week at least, it's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And like you said, that could change, as coming up after that. But you are going to be giving free on-air guidance that whole hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, however long it takes. It sounds like.
Well, if I could do 3 hours, I would.
Yeah, right. If I could do all week, I would. And then I'll be back next Saturday, November 13th, on the Tarot Today radio show with my co-host, Dax Carlisle. And we are going to be talking about the Eternal Seeker Oracle and the third edition of the Steel Wizard Tarot with our special guest, Pamela Steele. Oh, you got to tune in and listen to that. She's like the coolest lady ever. It's so exciting to have her on. Such a talented artist, and just like you wish she was your neighbor. That's how I feel about Pamela Steele. I'm like, I wish she was my neighbor so I could just hang out. But we'll also be doing free tarot readings on that. And then Sunday, November 14th, it's the Magic Universe Show with your host, Sharona Rapsick. She's going to be talking magic with special guest Tarot Master Tamara Kerr. And they're going to be doing free tarot mini readings and open lines as well. That's going to be a really fun show, too. So a lot of good stuff coming up on our little Psychic Talk Radio network. I'm so happy. And all of our shows are listed. You can find them. We also, I think all of us tell everybody what's coming up, but also you can always just bookmark the page, Psychic/upcoming, and that's how you keep up with all of us. Things are happening. We're moving around. Catherine might be changing her show time frame or whatever. You got to, bookmark that page, people. Keep up. Follow us. Do it.
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
I've had such a blast.
Yeah, it was amazing. I love talking to you and, all the listeners out there. It's a tough time, right now.
It
but,
is.
We're here. Psychic Talk Network is here. Dax is here. Mary's here. Janice is here. We're all here. If you need to talk, if you just need a little bit of guidance, we're not scary people. We won't bite.
I might growl. Yeah, you won't bite. I might just growl now and then, but yeah, I won't bite either.
And we're I just want to mention that if one person is not reachable at one moment, that just means that we're there for each other, as hosts.
Yes.
And I'm grateful for that. I've been here for 3 years now with the network, and I'm thankful for you, Mary, and I'm thankful for Dax.
Well, we're thankful for you.
You've helped me a lot, more than you know.
And well, that's what I'm here to do. That's my mission. Apparently, Archangel Raphael told me, help if you can. And that's the thing. We don't always know. You don't always know all the different ways in which you're helping people either. And I think you helped a lot of people today with sharing your story and just bringing that energy, that Catharine flavor to the airways. We need it. We need it. Well, thank you so very much for coming on the show. You've got to come back. I've got to have you back.
I will.
Okay.
Anytime.
Okay. You guys heard that, right? She promised. We're going to hold her to it. Have a great day, Catharine. Thanks so much.
You too. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.